All right. Hey, everybody. I'm going to be training this morning on wine and wellness events. And my team and I have been doing these. We made a concerted effort to put together wine and wellnesses starting last February. And we really like to work as a team, and we can schedule two a month. We did them on Monday nights. And the idea is that if you're inviting and people can't come to one, then you have another date as a backup. So it's really nice to have that. And so we had a series of them. We had two in February and two in March. And we round robin at the different houses, at four different houses. So there again, it's not on all one person to have to clean their house and make it look presentable and everything like that. Events really are the lifeblood of our business, right? They are the secret sauce of our business, and wine and wellnesses are really awesome. Now, there are some people and some teams that do them very casually. They just kind of get together, come on over for a glass of wine and hear some stories. And that's great. And I think in some settings that might be great, but we wanted to be intentional, and we wanted more of a structured format, because we are not salespeople. We are educators. And when you're talking about Juice Plus, you're talking about a lot more than just Juice Plus. You're talking about nutrition. You're talking about the importance of fruits and vegetables. You're talking about omegas and complete and the shred. I mean, there's a lot of information. So I always fear that if we're winging it and just doing it off the cuff, that we're going to forget a lot of information. We want to make sure everything is covered so that our guests feel that they, leave having all the information, and that there's been value, too. So also we can bring out stories. That's the other thing in doing it in more than just one person. The more team you have in your wine and wellness, the more stories that they can share and bring out. And so it takes the pressure off of having just that one presenter doing all the talking, because there's nothing worse than that. So before we did this, we all met on Zoom to discuss the format and the outline. And in fact, I have the outline, and I can actually, email it out to everybody here, and then you can share it. Let me just see. And then we did a flyer. And, I think the flyer was important because then we could text it, we could Facebook message it, we could email it. And I'm going to share with you what we used as our flyer. If I can find it here. Here it is. And we put some effort into this. I found somebody that actually created the flyer for us. And I had to pay $20, $25 to have it done, because I'm not a graphic designer. I wasn't going to learn it, but we did this. And we thought it was really cute. There's our team there. And so they're seeing that this is a team effort, that we work together, and that we have fun as a team. So that was kind of one of our flyers. Actually, this is an older flyer. The first flyer was in March, and we had two different dates for March. And then we did another one, February and March. And then we did another series in May. We also did this flyer for our June events. And there again, the picture of all of us, just to show that we work as a team. So, if you want more information on how to get these flyers done, I can let you know. But I think the flyers were important, and it really meant that we were, going to have a great event and a good turnout. So we started early, just like that butts and seats. We made our lists. We started way early to invite to these. As far as what we had at the Wine and Wellness, food-wise, keep it simple. I mean, if you make it too complicated and have these great hors d'oeuvres and all of that, that's nice if you want to do that. But for the most part, I believe in just trying to keep it simple so that your guests can say and think, oh, well, if I was to ever do this, I wouldn't need to go to all that effort. I'd just be able to keep it simple. Also, a nice selection of wine. Some people like more of a sweeter wine, and then a drier wine, red, and then have bottled water for sure. Have a selection there. Also, I like to have a display. So in the living room where you're going to be sitting, whoever's going to talk about the product has the display right there. And then part of the display too, I have a little ramekin dish, and I put the 2 fruit, 2 vegetable, and 2 berry capsules in the ramekin, and a separate ramekin with the omegas, so that when it comes time to show the product, they can actually look at the capsules. We also have goodie bags that we make up, and this is an example of one of them. I got these stickers from Promo Plus years ago, but you can actually probably have some made up too. So that's kind of fun, just in a regular little bag. And in there, I put a small packet of the complete, and then a bar. I also put a brochure. And then, when we get our product, we have these really fun cards that come in with our product. And I'm thinking, well, what the heck am I going to do with these? And I've just saved them. And I thought, oh, I can just pop them into the goodie bag, because they always have great information and positive quotes and sayings and all of that. So that goes in the bag too. So brochure and complete, and you can put a complete bar in there too. Before you start, what I like to do is make the shakes ahead of time. Meaning, take your magic bullet, take your NutriBullet, whatever you have, and make up your shakes and keep them in the plastic thing, and then stick them in the refrigerator. That way, they're all made up, and when it's time to serve, you just want to stick it back in the NutriBullet or whiz it up, just really, quickly, and then serve them. So it works out really well that way. So anyway, guests arrive at 6:45. We always have it starting at 7. We are very respectful for people's time. They get a glass of wine. They get a little plate of food or chips or salsa, whatever you have, and then we sit down. The team sits among the guests. It's not like we are facing them and they are facing us. We like to sit amongst them. They don't know who's a rep and who's not. So it's kind of fun to just sit that way. It makes it much more casual, much more fun when we're sharing our stories. The host of the house, whoever's house it is, starts and welcomes the guests. Thank you for coming, and let me just introduce you to who's going to be speaking tonight, and just the names. No stories at this time, and she just this is Monica, this is Cyndi, this is Nancy, and this is Melinda or whoever, and just introduces just by names. Then the person who does the intro, it could be the host, but in this case it was always me. I always did the intro. And basically, I wanted to go through certain, it was an introduction I wanted to do. I wanted to talk about fruits and vegetables, why we need so many, why we're here, and vitamins versus whole food, a little bit on that, and a little bit on my story. So that's what I wanted to accomplish by doing the introduction. And I always had little note cards, nothing fancy, just bullets. Once I went without them and I forgot stuff. Another time I had this long script and read it, and that was a disaster. So just try to have some bullets on a note card. And I always say, well, welcome everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. I also have this verbiage typed out too, which I can share, but I'll just do this very quickly. Welcome everyone. I'm just so glad you're here. We're going to be learning so much this evening, and I hope you come away with a lot of great information. We are, all on a health journey. And it looks different for everybody. Some of us are sitting here with a family history of cancer or heart disease, or maybe it's high blood pressure or diabetes. Maybe it's just that you're sitting here thinking, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Maybe you're thinking, gosh, I would love to eat well, but I don't have the time, or how the heck and where do I start? That kind of thing. For me, it's anti-aging. I want to live long or die young, but as late in life as possible. And it's all about energy and vitality. So that's kind of my focus. So it looks different for everybody. We here are the speakers tonight who will be sharing stories. We are on what we call a healthy living revolution. And we are trying to take healthy back, because we see with all of our friends and our family the struggles that people have in creating a healthy lifestyle. So I have been sharing this information for about 18 years. When I found out about something called Juice Plus, which you'll be hearing about this evening, and I actually then partnered with the company too. But what Juice Plus did for me, it was that one little change. It was that one little thing I did that created a whole snowball effect in health for me. So it was became a catalyst, if you will, to create a healthier lifestyle. It wasn't always like that before. So it was that one thing. So we're going to be learning more about that. What I also learned was about fruits and vegetables, and that we need to not only just take them, we need to flood our bodies. They're not important, they're critical. And we need to be eating 7 to 13 servings, a day, which is a big challenge for most people. Produce is not what it used to be. The produce loses 80% of nutrition within the first, few days of picking. Also, there are certain other statistics too. If you ate 1 cup of spinach back in 1954, the amount of iron you would receive is comparable to eating 60 cups of spinach today. That was back in 2003. There was a study. Also, prescriptions. People don't realize, but prescriptions can deplete your nutritional status too. So we have that information as well. But, we think that we can make up for the lack of produce by taking vitamin pills. And that is my story, because 18 years ago, I had that shoebox full of vitamins and supplements, a gold card from GNC. And I thought that because I was catching colds all the time, and every cold resulted in a sinus infection or bronchitis, that I would just take more vitamins. So between the vitamins and the antibiotics, that was how I was controlling my health. That was my normal. And I was a mom of 2 little boys, and I was exhausted, and I was not being the mom I wanted to be. So this came around, and I was intrigued, because what I learned is that the way your body recognizes vitamins is from food, not from that vitamin pill. So what we're going to do now is watch a wonderful DVD, and it will share about Juice Plus. It's 8 different physicians in different genres of medicine. And, Juice Plus has been around 25 years this year. It's not a fad, because it's food, and we'll learn more about that. So right now we're just going to put on the DVD. So I do put on Bridge the Gap. I still love Bridge the Gap. It is still awesome. It says it all. The doctors are so credible. It's not perfect, but it really is a great DVD. And I know there are other things out there, and we have tried other ones, but none of them have come home like Bridge the Gap. So we just show that video at that point, and then afterwards, one of the other team members takes it away, and she talks about the product at this point. So they just heard about Juice Plus, but they don't really know what it is. So then we pass around the laminate, that wonderful placemat. We talk about all the different fruits and vegetables. We don't read them out. Some people do. We don't. So much information. But we just, talk about the variety that they're getting. She goes through, here's the Juice Plus, here are the capsules. There are gummies. Now, we don't have gummy samples out at this point. You can if you want to. Oh, I always say that in the goodie bag, we also have sample gummies. I forgot to say that. So there are always some sample gummies of the berry and the fruit and vegetable in the sample bag. But you can have them out if you want to. If you have a lot of moms with kids, I would have them in a basket and just say, these are gummies. Please try them now. You will not be gagging. They are delicious. So you want to go through that, and the omegas and the complete. At this point, you can bring out the shakes, have somebody bring them out. I prefer to wait until we talk about the shred later on, because the complete is such a huge integral part of the shred. So I bring out the shakes then. But if you wanted to at this point, you could. So that's, Melinda did that, and then she briefly went into her story. So we're talking, let's just say the welcome started at 7, or the intro. 7:05 was Bridging the Gap. 7:20 was the show and tell and Melinda's story. And then 7:30, we handed it off to another rep who was there. And it doesn't have to be a rep. Maybe you can have a raving fan customer who has a great story and invite them to come to the Wine and Wellness, because those ameners are so wonderful. So another story at 7:30. Monica, in this case, has a breast cancer survivor story, which is just really very, very powerful. And then at 7:35, so it's only 5 minutes, 7:35, Nancy took over and she told her story, and then she went into the research. And it's not in depth. At that point, what we do is we hand out the summary. So you have these all printed up and ready to go in color because it looks so pretty. And you hand them out to everybody. And the research person says, this is published clinical study. It's not in a test tube. It's clinical. It's with blood. It's on people. And it's product specific. It's not on something in Juice Plus. It's on Juice Plus. And it shows. And just bullet it. Bioavailability, oxidative stress, and it reduces oxidative stress, systemic inflammation, builds that immune system and balances it, improves DNA, improves heart health, skin health, dental health, gives quality of life, helps with obesity in overweight children, and improves lung health. And then you just want to point out all the different universities and everything like that. So use this great summary. It's really good. So utilize it in your wine and wellness. If you want to, you can go into one of the studies. I know Nancy likes to go into the University of Maryland study, the cardiology study, and she kind of goes into that in depth. Because part of her story is when she started sharing Juice Plus, she just said fruits and vegetables because she felt that nobody could afford the trio. And she says this very honestly. But then she goes into the study of University of Maryland, where it shows that because of the trio, there was hardly any constriction whatsoever. So she said, I called all my people back and said, I'm sorry, I did you a disservice. You got to order the vineyard or the berries now. You have to, because now I know what I know. Oh my gosh. So it's great. So go into one of the studies, maybe the MD Anderson one too, because that actually, everybody's heard of MD Anderson, and it also includes the complete, as well. So whichever one you like, or whoever wants to go into it, have them do the research. Research scares people sometimes. I think because of the summary, we don't have to go into any major detail. It's all right there. And then we pass it off to somebody else who talks about the family, the healthy starts for families. And because we haven't talked about that yet. So she talks quickly about what it is, what it entails, kids are free, age ranges, all that kind of thing. And then she goes into her story, and it's usually very quick. So that's 7:45 to 7:50. And then we pass it back to me, and I talk about, or to whoever, to the shred. And this is really, really great. So this is where somebody would get up, make those shakes. They're already made, pre-made. Just zip them up to make them frothy again and put them in their little cups and bring them out. And this is where we talk about the shred. We leave it at the end because we're getting to the point where people are going to order, possibly, hopefully. And so this is a great program. I like to call it a jump start, a 10-day jump start for a 4-month program, because Juice Plus is a 4-month supply. So it's not just, 10 days of Juice Plus. It is a 4-month program, really, but just with a 10-day jump start. So we talk about what they get. They get the shred guide. They get the taste of the, shred cookbook. They get a Facebook group that is wonderful and supportive and private and attaboy and all the support and everything. It's not about weight loss. So we really go into that. And then they try the shakes at this point too. So that's really fun. And then it's 7:55 and it's time to wrap her up. And sometimes it goes faster than other times. Sometimes it goes slower. You might have people who jump in and ask questions, and you'll have to be really careful not to let it go off into the bunny trails, because that can happen sometimes. And I've had to tell my team sometimes too to reel it in or condense their story a little bit, because this is a lot to listen to and a lot to hear. And people can only sit and listen and learn for so long, right? And we don't want to be telling, we want to be, hearing also from them. And so at the wrap up, we do have order forms, but we have them over on the side, and we have them, on a clipboard like that on the side. But what I like to say is, I really hope that this has been helpful. And after we're done here, we'd love to hear from you. Like, what are your health challenges? And where do you maybe see where you can make improvements, and maybe see that Juice Plus could be a good fit. And what I like to say is, wherever it went, I like to ask everybody here, what do you do every day? What do we do every day to protect ourselves and to keep ourselves well? One thing we do is no-brainers. We brush our teeth, right? We protect our gums against gum disease. We do it morning and night and sometimes the middle of the day. It's a no-brainer. Of course we do it. We put on our seatbelts. We wouldn't dream of driving off without our seatbelts on. That's a no-brainer. But what are we doing for our bodies every single day that we don't even, think about? But we know we're protecting it. We know we're helping it. What do we do, or what can we do that is a no-brainer? And I just kind of let it sit. And then I say, Juice Plus has been a nutritional insurance for me and for my family. It's been a tremendous safety net. And so I went from 3 to 4 rounds of antibiotics. And in the last 18 years, two rounds of antibiotics in the last 18 years. In fact, I can't remember, and I hate saying that because I feel like I'm going to get sick, so I knock on wood. And then you can always say too, maybe you want to join our mission here. Take Healthy Back for yourself and get on Juice Plus. Great. We have order forms here. It comes in a 4-month supply. And then you can jump on board with the shred. That's a great way to get started. And then you can say, or you might want to partake in our healthy living plan and inspire 2 other households. I mean, maybe you're sitting here going, my mom needs to hear about this. My sister needs to hear about this. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking of so many people that this could help. If you are thinking that, and if you're like that, then you can join the mission and inspire 2 other households. And you receive money back on your product, and then there's a bonus and all of that. We can talk about that later. But just thank you so much for coming. And if you want to, you can get started, and we have order forms here. We're not salesy people though, but let's talk. And then it just kind of, and who needs more wine? And then make sure somebody's there with wine to pour. Keep pouring that wine. So I think that's it.